Huawei is at the center of a major AI plagiarism controversy. On July 6, a former member of the company's Pangu project told a bold step and exposed allegations of fraudulent practices related to Huawei's Pangu AI model. The whistleblower claims Huawei copied models from competitors Alibaba and DeepSeek, while also criticizing the company's internal politics, which have reportedly caused a significant loss of talent. The article quickly gained widespread attention online after its release. The 6,000-word exposé details the whistleblower's experience working at Huawei's ARC lab. It describes how severe internal conflicts led to delayed progress of the Pangu AI model, with mounting pressure from management as the gap between Huawei and its competitors grew. The team found itself in a difficult position, with doubts from within the company and external pressure threatening to derail the project. The whistleblower claimed that under these pressures, Huawei's lab director, Wang Yunhe, turned to a practice known as shell cloning, essentially copying the models of competitors. It quickly boosted the model's performance by about 10 percentage points. According to the article, under pressure from leadership, the team took shortcuts by retraining Alibaba's 1.5 version of the Tongyi Qianwen model, which has 110 billion parameters. They then increased the parameters to 135 billion by adding more layers and modules, while incorporating elements from the Pangu paper. To hide the original source, the team allegedly used fake data to wash the model's features. The whistleblower also revealed that the team had cloned DeepSeek version 3, a model from another company, as part of the training process. He further explained that Huawei's top executives who lacked expertise in AI were unaware of the plagiarism and mistakenly believed that the team had developed innovative algorithms. Unable to tolerate the fake achievements within the company, the whistleblower also faced the ongoing online discussions about the Pangu model's alleged plagiarism of the Qian model. He shared, "I would toss and turn at night, unable to sleep." While feeling regretful about past wrongdoings, he also felt a sense of justice. After much inner conflict, he decided to reveal what had been witnessed during the development process. The whistleblower addressed the plagiarism issue, stating, "The model I created is like my own child, and I don't think others are fools." The article also noted that fierce internal struggles at Huawei led to the company losing top AI talent in a short period. At the end of the article, the whistleblower wrote, "Having shared all of this, some people will surely try to find me and silence me. The company may even want me to keep quiet or hold me accountable. If that happens, my safety and even my family's could be in danger." To protect himself, the whistleblower has made a habit of publicly confirming his safety each day, saying, "If I disappear, consider it a sacrifice for the truth and for the future of AI development in Huawei and China." The plagiarism incident has been jokingly called a repeat of history, with one commentator sarcastically saying, "Huawei's innovation is just polishing someone else's wheel and putting its own logo on it." On the social platform Zhihu, a user named Snower, claiming to be a former Huawei employee, posted, "My former colleague's account mostly matches what I know. My decision to leave was also tied to how badly the Pangu model was turning out. By 2024, almost everyone at Huawei knew the Pangu model was failing, and by 2025, it's likely the whole industry will be aware of it. I've seen a lot of comments saying the original author failed in the struggle, but honestly, if it were a fair competition to see who could build the best model, that would be a good thing. However, at Huawei, it's about who can report well to the leadership, and who's seen as loyal. That's who gets ahead." Due to Huawei's close relationship with the Chinese government, it has long been shielded from scrutiny. Whenever Huawei products face issues, the government swiftly censors online discussions and accuses those who are revealing defects of spreading rumors. The environment makes it risky for Huawei employees to expose company wrongdoing. This revelation has sparked debate on international social media platforms. One user commented, "Huawei's history of fraud is nothing new. It's no surprise that their 7-nanometer products, which were sold for tens of thousands of dollars a few years ago, are now coming under scrutiny. Huawei, like the CCP, is surrounded on all sides. Just like the growing online criticism of the Chinese government, people are increasingly speaking out against Huawei." Another commenter said, "From the government to businesses, from officials to the public, fake and hollow claims are everywhere." Another comment reads, "After reading it, I feel like this programmer has really been brainwashed and is still tied up in Huawei's sentiment. He hasn't yet seen the reality of the situation or understood Huawei's true nature, but I really admire his courage. That's something really rare these days." Someone else commented, "The most shameless part is copying someone else's work and claiming it as their own invention, using it to deceive the public and push a nationalist agenda. Huawei is a prime example of this." Earlier, on June 30th, Huawei officially released its open-source 7B parameter dense model and the Pangu Pro MOE 72B mixed expert model, along with its model inference technology based on Ascend chips. The release of the models quickly attracted attention. But soon, the Pangu model found itself mired in plagiarism allegations into a major topic of discussion within China's AI industry. On July 4th, the research team Honest AGI published a technical analysis report on GitHub, accusing Huawei's Pangu model of being highly similar to Alibaba's Tongyi Q1 2.5 14B model, with a correlation coefficient of 0.93, far higher than the industry standard of 0.7. Industry experts pointed out that this level of similarity goes beyond referencing open source code and closer to parameter transfer. More direct evidence came from Huawei's own open source repository, where some core modules clearly displayed Alibaba's Qwen copyright information. Analysis suggested that Pangu might have been upgraded from Qwen rather than being trained from scratch. In response to the allegations, Huawei's Noah Arc Lab issued a statement on July 5th, claiming that the Pangu Pro MOE model was based on Huawei's self-developed Ascend hardware platform and was not derived from other companies' models. However, Huawei acknowledged that some of the code was based on open-source projects, which were properly attributed with copyright information, emphasizing that it aligns with the spirit of open-source collaboration. Ironically, Huawei has refused to release any key information, such as training logs and the source of datasets. Critics argue that open source does not mean a free-for-all, and Huawei's actions show a misunderstanding of the open source spirit. They insist that compliance is not a shield, and respecting original work is the baseline. Huawei first launched its initial Pangu model back in 2021, entering the large model field early on, but it has since been viewed as falling behind competitors. The ongoing discussions about whether Pangu copied other models are still unfolding. While Huawei has issued an urgent statement, Alibaba has yet to publicly comment on the issue. Regardless of that outcome, Huawei could face an unprecedented crisis of trust. This plagiarism incident highlights the harsh realities facing Huawei and the broader Chinese AI industry. At the core of the issue is China's critical AI power shortage. American export restrictions on AI chips have severely limited China's computational capabilities. The whistleblower openly pointed out that the root cause is a severe lack of computing power resources. U.S. export controls have also hindered China's ability to produce chips, preventing Chinese companies from reaching the scale of Nvidia. China is either unable to produce or struggles to mass produce the most advanced AI chips. Nvidia's top-tier B200 model outperforms Huawei's Ascend 910B in several key areas. Its overall performance is about 14 times better, while its memory capacity is 3 times larger, and its memory bandwidth is 20 times higher, with 8 terabytes per second compared to 400 gigabytes per second. These figures clearly show that the Nvidia B200 excels across the board compared to Huawei's Ascend 910B. China lags behind in the scale, efficiency, and chip supply needed for large-scale model training when compared to global leaders. The whistleblower described Huawei and other Chinese companies as struggling to catch up with foreign competitors, like driving a domestic engine while carrying heavy loads, trying to keep up with sports cars overseas. This isn't the first time Huawei has faced plagiarism accusations. The company's rise has been marked by allegations of using underhanded tactics to steal trade secrets and engage in unfair competition. With the U.S. tightening its ban on Huawei, the company suffered a heavy blow, facing supply chain risks and significant chip shortages. Industry insiders have provided a rational analysis of Huawei's weaknesses, pointing out that the company's claims of developing high-end chips independently are misleading. In April 2025, a report by U.S. semiconductor research firm SemiAnalysis revealed that Huawei's A10C and 910B AI processors were not the independently made products Huawei claimed. While Huawei designs its chips in China, its core technology and supply chain still rely heavily on overseas sources, especially Taiwan's TSMC for chip manufacturing. The report noted that although China's SMIC claims to have 7-nanometer process capabilities, Huawei did not widely use that process. Instead, the company turned to third-party firms like Softgo, which helped procure 7-nanometer chips from TSMC through orders, with an estimated purchase volume of $500 million. What's concerning is that these processors don't indicate their chip source, but after analysis by U.S. firm Tech Insights, among others, it was found that both the Ascend 10B and 910C processors are almost entirely made by TSMC. SemiAnalysis stated that even if the U.S. continues to block high-end chips, Chinese companies can still acquire resources through overseas intermediaries or the black market, making the chip embargo strategy less effective. Looking back at Huawei's history, in February 2019, the company was accused of plagiarism and stealing trade secrets. The website The Information reported that Huawei used suspicious tactics to steal Apple's business technology. The report claimed that Huawei pretended to negotiate deals as a cover to steal Apple's trade secrets. The information report alleged that Huawei copied Apple's smartwatch heart rate sensor and components from a connector Apple developed in 2016. The report also stated that Huawei used various means to target Apple suppliers and former employees in an effort to learn Apple's technology. Huawei denied the accusations, while Apple declined to comment. In early 2019, a digital blogger used a Huawei P30 Pro to take a photo of the moon, revealing craters clearly, which sparked a debate. The topic of whether Huawei was cheating with its moon photos trended online. Later, astronomy enthusiasts verified that the impressive image was not due to Huawei's technology, but largely due to algorithm optimization. In 2023, Cisco accused Huawei of copying its router code, to which Huawei responded that it was purely a coincidence. The matter was eventually settled. In 2024, during a Huawei press conference demonstrating its large model's ability to generate images, a technical glitch occurred when the presenter pressed Ctrl-C to interrupt the demonstration, showing a time-sleep 6 code on the screen. Professionals suggested that Huawei had prepared the results in advance rather than running the demonstration live. Huawei also faced embarrassment over its so-called self-developed Harmony OS system. In 2022, a user revealed that when switching the language on their Huawei phone from Chinese to English, the system's Harmony OS label switched to Android system, leading many to mock Harmony OS as a rebranded Android. Taiwanese media also reported that Huawei has a long history of copying, from products to advertisements. In 2015, Huawei launched a phone advertisement almost identical to one by Taiwanese brand HTC. In 2016, Huawei released another ad, which was found to have similar filming techniques and even used the same slogan as the China Airlines ad. Huawei founder Reng Zhengfei once said in a speech to employees, "Without innovation, it's nearly impossible to survive in the high-tech industry." However, some have responded with irony, suggesting that Reng's definition of innovation may simply mean copying others' work. Others have bluntly stated, the era of exploiting national sentiment through plagiarism is long gone. How is it that a giant company with over 200 employees continues to face repeated theft scandals? While Huawei is a private company, the US believes it is under the control of the Chinese government and may be embedding backdoors in its telecom products, allowing Chinese authorities to conduct espionage. This poses a threat to the security of foreign communications infrastructure, and by extension, national security. To many countries, Huawei is a mysterious company and is a mysterious figure. His connections to China's military and security agencies have prevented Huawei from gaining full trust. This issue is a common challenge faced by Chinese high-tech companies like Huawei. Economist Li Hongqing from the Institute for Information and Strategic Studies in Maryland explained that China's development over the past 30 to 40 years has followed a strategy of taking shortcuts. From copying intellectual property to forcing foreign companies to transfer technology in exchange for market access to eventually stealing foreign IP, China has employed aggressive tactics. Additionally, China's Thousand Talents program offered higher salaries than the US to attract foreign talent. Li noted that it was in this context that President Trump introduced the America First policy, intensifying IP protection to counter China's theft of American intellectual property. However, Li also acknowledged Huawei's resilience, stating that despite US sanctions, the company has managed to survive without shock after being cut off from certain products and technologies. Li attributed Huawei's resilience to two main factors. First, he pointed to the persistence, vision, and leadership of Ren and his entrepreneurial team, who managed to survive multiple rounds of US pressure. Second, he emphasized the critical support from the Chinese government, which he believes is the primary reason Huawei has not collapsed. He continued, "The Chinese government has clearly supported Huawei, opened the market for its products, and promoted its national brand, ensuring that Huawei's products sell well in China. However, the actual relationship between the Chinese government, the military, and Huawei remains unclear. Is it simply a case of military-civilian integration? It seems not. If it were, there wouldn't be such heavy state involvement. As President Xi Jinping often says, the whole nation's effort to accomplish big tasks." A Chinese economic expert revealed that Huawei has helped the Chinese military build communication systems, but relies on civilian products to support military goods, which are not profitable. This is why the Chinese government forces public servants, state-owned enterprises, and people to buy Huawei products, giving the company a powerful market share within China. Furthermore, the expert noted that Huawei may also be capturing market share in Africa and Southeast Asia, while its 5G communication equipment has largely disappeared from the US and European markets.